Hey guys, Sean Bougie here. I want to talk briefly about why the majority of people that attempt to wholesale property or flip property fail miserably. Miserably. And by the way, you can get in touch with us or check out what we have to offer at surplusfundsriches.com. Click on the products tab, it'll take you to the products page. You can also on the right side of the page put in your name and email address and get an insider's guide, which is an overview of everything that we do. We actually partner with people flipping property and retrieving overages or surplus funds. All right. And also, of course, like this channel, this YouTube channel. Okay, guys, these gurus have been around forever, and they make the circuit, and they talk about assignable contracts. Like this is a new thing, okay? Assignable contracts. So you can get the homeowner, you can lock them down with an assignable contract, no money down. And then flip the property to an investor by the due date on your contract. What you're also going to see is subject to. You get these two. It's kind of it's the same thing, but a different smell, let's say, okay? Subject to this, that, or the other, some approval from some other person or whatever. Okay, again, it's all BS. We're teaching how to lock people down and then try to shift it over to somebody else that's an investor that'll actually buy it from you. The final issue is some people actually have money to make the purchase or have a way to make that purchase. However, they're looking at fix and flips. Let's address all these three items, these three techniques, let's call it, one at a time. First of all, guys, you need to understand that the assignable contract thing has been around since Carlton Sheets. All right, it's been around for what, 30 years, something like that. It's complete BS, and honestly, a lot of you guys, a lot of people that do that have a problem with it because they realize they're full of crap, and they can't put deals together because they don't have confidence when they call the people. They don't. Plus, there's 4 other people calling them with the same kind of BS. Whereas, you know what? Just so happens somebody came through and did a real estate seminar and told you guys, and you got so excited about subject to or assignable contracts, thought it was genius, and now you got like 20 guys that are also excited about that came to the same seminar as you. Okay, guys, first of all, owners are getting a little savvy to that. Secondly, they're hearing the same offer over and over again. Oh, we'll close in 3 weeks, assignable, blah, 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 or subject to, blah, 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 blah. People are like, you know what? I need money. I don't need a promise to pay from you. This is the seller. I need money. So what's different with us, if somebody works with us either on our Game Changer program, which is going after property, going after pre-foreclosure, okay, going into pre-foreclosure for mortgages, or anything other than a tax entity. It could be an HOA or whatever. The Game Changer, the National Deed Flip goes after going after property that's going into tax sale, okay? Pre-tax sale. The difference with us is when I call them, I'm going to give them cash. I'm going to use a structured buyout. I'm going to give them cash, considerable amount, usually a minimum of $5,000 up front, just to seal the deal. When I say up front, they have to sign my contract. They have to sign the deed over to me, okay? And what I'm going to do at that point, because usually we're almost out of time, I got to record that deed to make sure they didn't sell it to 8 other people, which happens. I'm also going to have, thanks to my researchers that buy my program and send deals to me to put together, we're going to research the debt and the ownership to make sure it's the right owner, because guess what? A lot of times that owner listed on the mortgage, foreclosure, or on the tax, they're not the owner anymore. It's been quit claim deed to somebody else. Quit, by the way. It's not quick. Quit claim deed to somebody else. So you check the owner as the actual owner. You check for other debt, because we're going to be buying them out prior to the auction hitting and either paying off the debt or bringing them up to snuff on their payments when we do that. We're also going to let them stay in house for a couple months. We're going to give them X amount of dollars up front. Let's say we agree to pay them $100,000. We're going to give them 5 of that minimum, probably make closer to 20. But let's say $5,000. Right after we record the deed at the court, this is just like a real estate closing. Right after we record the deed at the court and pay off whatever debt is foreclosing against them at that point. Okay, we We pay that off to stop the foreclosure. And then we let them stay. If they're in the property, we'll let them stay a couple months. If they're not in the property and it's vacant, we'll give them the full amount up, as soon as we record the deed and pay off whatever is foreclosing on them. We don't want to give them money when we don't own the property, so we have to record the deed. We don't want to give them money when there's over our head is this entity about to foreclose on them. So we give them, but we do that all in about 3 days. So usually within a week to 5 business days, I've got a check in their hand for the initial payment. That's if they're in the house. If they're not in the house, and I've sent a mobile notary out to check condition and all that and take pictures for me, which I like to use mobile notaries for that. I'll just give them the full amount after I record the deed and record, or rather make sure that I've paid off the debt that's foreclosing against them. No problem whatsoever. If they're still in the house, I'm going to give them a certain portion up front, usually a minimum of $5,000, depending on the property. Then I'm going to flip this thing to an investor, by the way. I'm not going to fix it up. I'm just going to flip it as is where is, but I'm going to get it cheap enough that I can flip it to an investor for cash within a matter of weeks. That investor can turn around, okay? They can turn around, put X amount of dollars into it, and make money as well. I'll leave enough meat on the bone for them to make money too. But I'm going to give them, if they're in the house, a certain amount of money up front, a certain amount of money right before, usually 10% or whatever I'm going to pay them up front, meaning within a week after they sign my documents. That same amount usually right before they have to get out, because they've spent that money by now, right? So I send it out, usually I'll send it out like the day before with a mobile notary and they're signing a receipt right before they move out. And then the final amount after they are out and I've rekeyed the property, which is usually the day after the deadline. Now, why do I do that? Why do I do cash for keys at the end? These people were not afraid of a mortgage company or were unable to do anything about it. They're in desperation, or they're unafraid of the tax folks. They didn't think they were actually going to foreclose. And they're still in the house. They're not going to be afraid of me. So it's usually, let's say I owed the guy another $40,000 at the time of move out. My deal is simple. Every day you're late, every day, or a portion thereof. And I know you guys are going to think I'm a jerk. You're going to yell at me and say I'm a scammer and whatever. Guys, if you haven't done real estate, you need to shut your mouth and listen carefully. People will not move out unless you give them incentive. So my incentive is simple. Every day they're late, it's $2,000 less I pay them on the final payment. $2,000 less. They leave a bunch of crap in the house, whatever the cost is to take that stuff out, because I'm not going to fix it, but I'm going to take all the crap out of it. I'm going to double the cost of that. All this is in my contract. I'm going to double the cost of that. If they trash it, pull out electric lines, copper, whatever, pull stuff out of the house, trash it on the way out, double the cost of whatever the repair would have been, even if I'm not going to repair it. All this is in my contract. The reason you guys are failing, those 3 different options. First of all, the subject to or the assignable contract, people are getting smart about it and they want money now. So somebody like me is going to come in behind you. I'm making them a cash offer where I'm giving them at least a portion of it if they're still in a house within a week after they sign my document. Usually it's honestly, it's 5 business days, about a week. Okay? So I'm going to do that while you're saying, oh, I've got this investor, while you're saying all this bull crap. I'm going to put the deal in the contract. That's what's happened to your deals if you're wondering why you're trying to reach 200 people before somebody clicks on it. Somebody decides to go with you. Okay? That's assignable and subject to BS. The final one is fix and flip. Guys, get out of that. There's so many investors that are hungry for good money that can't find it at the auction, and they are paying retail because they're idiots. There's a lot of new investors that you can fix, and you can take it and flip it as is, whereas to an investor in a matter of weeks, close quickly, and not have to deal with inspections, not have to deal with, I don't even deal with the attorneys, to be honest with you. But you don't have to deal with any of that, and it's done. If you have any questions, please go to surplusfundsriches.com. On the right side, put your name and email in. You'll get our insider's guide. Read through that first. But then you can call me. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 704-791-9398. Thanks.